Okay, hello everyone. My name's Joe and I work here at BDP. I'm going to talk about new exciting features for MEP design in Revit, which I'm sure you're all dying to hear. Just out of interest, how many M&E guys or have we got in here? Okay, tough crowd. 2, 3. So you're all dying to hear about this, so we'll crack on. We've only got 10 minutes, so not too long. Okay, so yeah, exactly. I'm just going to turn this around because I like to walk about, so hopefully you'll still hear me. Okay, so the big updates really here for closed loop hydronic analysis, which is very American to be honest. Okay, yeah. So you know, with the hydronic, all it means is water flow basically. So now they've linked together kind of flow and return systems now. So you used to have to do it all in small little sections, but what they've done now is looped it all together so you can have one combined system. So you know, I'll come on to that in a second. Analytical connections are now available, and I think this has been available in the structural version for a while. So which means you don't necessarily have to model everything, you know, especially early stages, because if you kind of go in steaming in, modeling everything, and the building's quite fluid early on, you can have a lot of change. So the analytical connections now mean that you can kind of build relationships between the elements without actually drawing anything, which is quite nice. Outdoor air and space and building types. Now this kind of just customizing that and adding new features to that. A bit about electrical circuit pathways, slope pipe for fabrication and multi-point fabrication. Now, and I don't know anyone who is actually using the fab parts in Revit at the moment. I don't really agree with them because once you turn it into a fab part, it goes into a dumb element, which kind of defeats the whole point of BIM, I think. Right, so this is the closed loop hydronic analysis. So essentially pumps have been made an actual element in the Revit model now, and now they can actually calculate that, the head of pressure. And I've kind of tested this out in a second, so I'll kind of give you a bit of a crash course in mechanical engineering in a second. But it's also kind of calculating pressure, which didn't really work before, and all this kind of happens in the background now, so you can carry on working while it's kind of thinking about your calculation. And like I said, this is like the analytical analysis now. You can see some kind of radiators at the side here, and rather than actually modelling the pipe work between them, you can see those blue lines there, like the analytical links. So you can move stuff around and not have to remodel all the pipe work, and because that can be quite time consuming. Right, so I put all this stuff to the test, and as you can see there, what we're trying to do, well, certainly at BDP, is kind of build everything into the Revit model. Now, we used to have separate calculations over here and bits of paper and stuff, and what we're trying to do is chuck all that into the model. And so this update now is actually helped us. So, you can see here on the left-hand side, you've got a large pipe there, so that a boiler will feed hot water onto a header pipe, and then what you have is a heating circuit, basically flow and return, and the water circulates around the building. And obviously that there has a pressure drop. And what previously, that pressure drop you'd have to calculate in an Excel file and all separate. What Revit now does is kind of populate that into the pump, so you can see all this sort of big long numbers there and Greek letters. That's actually the calculations happening. And you can see the blue links again here, they're like the analytical links. And you can see even though the pipework's not modelled, the flow rates are actually totting up. So it does work quite well. So we're able to now embed more analysis into our models, speed the process up. If we change stuff in the model, the calcs are automatically updated. So and obviously all the scheduling's updated as well. There is a few pitfalls with this though. We found that, like in this scenario here, where you've got two pumps, I've actually cheated there and actually disconnected the secondary side. Because when you connect two together, the flow rates compete and the pressures just go all wonky. So just watch out for that. Okay, so this is an update to space and building types. Now previously, everything was linked into what they called zones. And to be honest, I don't know anyone who was using it, to be honest. It was really cumbersome, and trying to get your flow rates and the heating loads into the spaces was just an absolute nightmare. No one really used it, you just sent it into IES. And to be honest, I don't really see people using this in the UK because we've got IES, which is a totally separate piece of software that we model our stuff, and it complies with all our UK regulations. And also it kind of relies on the spaces in the model being watertight, and 90% of the models that we get, we try and put spaces in, and it just just leaks everywhere, just an absolute nightmare. So trying to manage that on a big complex model, I just don't see it happening really, to be honest, at this moment in time. But you know, you guys, if you want to try that out, I'm more than welcome to. But so this is just a video from the Autodesk. Should automatically play. No. Okay, so it's, you know, I'll just talk over it quickly. So you see, this is like an interface now, and previously this was all hard coded, so you get all your different space types there and all the sort of environmental factors in there. And they were all hard coded, you couldn't really change them. Now they've customized it so you can make your own, you can do what you want, which is pretty good. But again, to say, we certainly wouldn't use it at BDP. This is quite a big one, the circuit pathway. Previously, if you drew electrical circuiting, it would kind of do it as the crow flies, which is never the case. You never just kind of string your wires up like straight over there. They kind of follow a containment path. So what they've enabled you to do now is actually trace out your containment routes. And you can see there by the length of the cable there, in the option one it's like 12 meters and the second one is 22 meters. So a big difference there if you actually follow the containment route, which will have a big effect on the calculations, cable sizes, prices, etc., etc. Now the fab parts, so this is something I disagree with. I don't know if there's any contractors kind of using this, but these parts, once you put them in, they become dumb. So any information that you build into it, i.e., you know, if we're building an asset model for your client or you're trying to run calculations, you swap that out for a fab part, it just becomes dumb. I know it actually is a real life component, like off the shelf and manufactured, but I really don't see the point of it losing all that intelligence. If you then hand that model over to the client, it's just a dumb model. It's like, well, what are we going to do with this? But obviously they see it as a big thing. I mean, the parts themselves, I mean, the video is not working here, so this just, let's try. Yeah, the parts themselves are quite good because you get manufacturer's kit. I think they've all kind of, you know, fed into this, so all the components are real life. You know, the coordination will actually work. The guys on site, when they get this actual model, will be able to actually, you know, build and fabricate that. But again, losing the intelligence, and it doesn't really, we certainly wouldn't use it. And now this is a new feature for the fabrication elements now. Previously, you could only put in one piece at a time. You'd have to kind of connect them all up. Now you can draw it like you would draw normally, where you kind of draw a line and it kind of, you know, puts the parts in as you're drawing, which is quite nice. Again, I'm not a fan of the fab parts, so I really don't see them working certainly for us as a consultant. And that's just the video not working. Obviously, these are all the other features that are available. I think these probably came in 2017, but yeah, that's it.